Yeah, what up, what up? This is the Stitch and Sham Show, episode 25.
Yes.
I'm one of your hosts, Sham Phoenix.
And I am the other Stitch Early.
And again, this is brought to you by the good folks at Icon Nation.
Yes.
We got a special episode today, which is crazy because this is our 25th episode. And that's like a
milestone
technically,
sense,
right?
Yeah. It's halfway to 50.
It's halfway to 50. So for the milestone episode today, we're going to talk about the new EP that me and Stitch just finished.
Yes.
And will be released this Friday called Black Gold.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we'll title this episode The Listening.
Yeah, the listening.
Shout out, little brother.
Shout out, little brother. Ninth Wonder,
Yeah, I mean.
rapper Big Pooh,
Yeah, I mean, Fonte.
and Fonte. Shout out to you guys because we do really like your music a lot.
For sure.
But yeah, we're going to share the project. We're going to talk about the process, talk about the things that we, had to go through during this time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Even kind of talk about how we got to the point of even doing the project, and then talk a little bit about the songs and the writing process, and just share with you guys. I know probably every episode we talk about going to arisemusic.com. So yes, we do music.
Yes.
Potting isn't the only isn't the only thing that we do. And I just think it's really dope when people are able to express themselves creatively and like just be able to share all of their talents opposed to just one thing. So today we're gonna go through the track listing, and let me pull that up in my mind.
And before we even get there, so which some of y'all may know, some of y'all don't know, we used to be in a group together.
Yes.
And actually, two groups.
Yeah, we were in two groups.
Yeah.
We have been technically making music together since
What, 2000, 99, 2000, something like that?
2000.
Yeah, 2000, yeah. So when I first moved to Frederick, Shan was actually one of the first people that I met when I moved here. So I moved here from Japan, and so he was like one of the first people that I met, and he was in a group. Mind you, he was in high school at this time. And it's like, yo, we be rapping, like, you trying to, and so me being me, I'm like, all right, yeah, like, I'll come.
Yeah, I'll see what. Yeah, you weren't like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot like how you are now. You don't get like overly excited about too much anyway. So
so I was just like, all right, bet, like, I'll come through, like, and it kind of went from, being music to kind of speed up. You know what I mean? It went from being music to just us just rocking with each other as people, to it growing from friends to brothers, you know what I mean? That type of thing. So I think it was probably, we had a group by the name of New School Spirit.
Yeah.
Around 2007. And from that point up until I would say 2014, 2013.
Yeah.
We were doing music as New School Spirit, and that was before Shan moved to Atlanta.
Yep.
But the whole time while he was, down in Atlanta, we would always talk on the phone. We would always speak about Arise.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the idea for Arise came.
Yep.
Was through conversations.
You came down all the time.
Yeah, and then I would come down to Atlanta.
You come to Atlanta all the time.
Whether it would be to pick my son up, because he would come stay with Sham, and then I would come down, scoop him from there, head back to Maryland. Yeah. So that the process of everything, kind of just to give y'all a little backstory, just a little bit, and at some point we'll dive deeper into that and give more details. But so the ideas just of Arise in general came around that point, and I would say that might have been 2015, 16 time frame, around that time frame. And then speed it back up until Sham moved back to Frederick, and we had been in contact that whole time. And I think at that time I was working on a project, When the Sky Cracks, which he mixed and mastered. And at I
produced one track on it.
And produced one track, and produced Sweet Tea Canvas.
Yep.
So at that point, it was just us trying to find time.
Yeah.
We would always talk about yo,
yeah,
man, if you've ever, for those who have done music or even just been a part of a group in any form, and then you do it on your own, there's always that man, you miss the group in a sense. You know what I mean? You're always like, I'm pretty sure if you talk to like a big boy, he's like, man, I would love to do another Outkast album. Like, you know what I mean? I would love to have Dre here on a daily basis type of thing. So the crazy thing is, you know, for as many bumps in the road and as many tragedies and just ups and downs that have happened throughout 2020 just alone with COVID and everything happening, for as many negatives that happened, one of the positives was it freed up time. Yeah. And I would say time was probably one of the biggest factors in us not doing something sooner.
Yeah, it was because our kids were doing things and you know, spending time with spouses and paying bills and all of the things that you can think of like for adulthood. Because like when you go back to the fact that we've been making music since 2000, like during that period of time, we've always worked in the studio together. And I know with technology and how you know, things have changed with technology, that you could basically do a verse at your crib and I could do a verse at my crib and we could get a project done, but we've never worked well that way.
Yeah, nah, we always worked better like in studio paper, let's sit down, throw the beat on, let's get it.
Like, so I think that was the thing that we were trying to make sure that we hung on to. And I'm kind of glad that we did because again, our chemistry that way is always better.
For sure.
And I feel like we work faster that way. We work more efficient
much
that
faster.
way.
Like
I just think it's just the best way for us to work. And again, like you said, because of COVID, we had a lot of time. I remember this is how funny it is. So we had a conversation probably a week prior to the actual shutdown. And we were preparing for Zoe to put out another solo album because of the fact of he probably would have you know, more efficient time to write and things like that if he was, you know, by himself opposed to us getting together and doing it. And our evenings were pretty much kind of crazy,
stacked, like for sure.
It was just a wild time, right? And then the shutdown happens, and we're like, oh man, like this might be the moment, because they hadn't yet said like
it was the 15 days.
Yeah, it was the 15 days, and then after that it was like I'm trying to think, like you can have 10 people or less or something like that
in a gathering. And it was because I remember they just kept adding instead of them just shutting everything down. Because you called me when I was in New York.
Yes.
And you was like, yo, did you see like they're shutting schools down starting next Monday? And so we was like, oh, all right, well, if they shutting everything down, like, yo,
we got some time.
And so like you said, originally I was gonna be putting out a solo project, and it was like, I think how we had broke everything down, like it came out to like 2 albums almost. You know what I mean? So it was like, I can put this out at any point. Like, you know what I mean? We can work and tweak things and work on this at any point, but we don't know if we're gonna get the time for us to sit down
to work
and
together.
really push. And I think also once you get in a groove of things, when time does pick back up, you've gotten into it. So now us getting together, if stuff was to start back up today, we know how we work. We're back in that zone of how we flow and how we work to where now it's the well-oiled machine that like, nah, just start it up and we got it. So things shutting down, it was like, all right, nah, we'll hold off on the solo project and let's hop into what you will now know as the Arise Collective.
Yes. So when we did that, so initially we started working on another project. And as the civil unrest happened around the world, us being black men started looking at like the landscape of music doesn't have a victory song for us. It always seems like it's this maybe one day downtrodden, like the moment is not right now, it'll come type of rhetoric in the music. And
especially I think in a project format.
Yes.
Like in a project format, like I think that there are, you know, like the Kendrick Lamar's We Gonna Be All Right, like joints like that where it's a song, but it's a moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's a moment. And I think in that, so I remember you hit me and you was like, yo, I think, so we had another project. We're not saying the names of these other projects because we're still going to be doing stuff.
Yeah, we're still working on them.
So I remember you hit me, and I think we were probably like 4 songs in on this other project.
Yes, we were 4 songs in.
And like 4 real good songs.
Yeah.
Like, and you were like, yo, I think we should do a song on the project that kind of speaks to everything that's going on right now. And I'm like, yeah, let's get it, you know? Yep. So I think it might have been, I think y'all went to Ocean City.
Yep. We went away on vacation.
And it might have been like that Friday, I think you text me and you was like, yo, what you doing? I was like, nothing. And then you hit me. And he was like, yo, like, I think we should just do like a whole joint.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
all right.
Like majority of the time, my response is, all right, let's get it. Like, like whatever, let's get it. Because I know at the end of the day, like when you work with certain individuals, because we've been working together for so long, anytime we've done stuff together, I know what it's going to be. Yeah. So there's never like a hesitancy, if that's a word. I might be saying it wrong.
No, it might be.
You know what I'm saying? Or it might be new.
It sounds good to me.
Like, you know what I mean?
Hesitancy?
There might be a hesitancy in
or hesitance.
You know what I'm saying? I guess it's one of them
too.
It's one of them. In a person going like, I don't know. Because for me, it's always like, bet, like, let's get it. So,
and we're 4 songs in on another project. So it could be like I'm a very like feel the moment type of dude.
Exactly.
And when we were working on said particular project, that project is like one of those things where it could be anytime.
Yeah, it definitely like the songs on that project don't fit a moment.
Yeah, this is an anytime.
And I honestly say, even with this project, as much as it fits a moment that I don't feel is going anywhere, and not in the sense of the unrest and how we feel, but in the sense of us being empowered and pushing through. I think that's something that we'll be teaching our kids. Like, nah, you this is who you are. Stand strong. This is, you know what I mean? We'll be always pushing those things. So when we started going into this project, it was a thing of, man, we don't want this to be a woe is me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
We may get there.
We wanted this to be a, this is who you are.
Yep.
Hey, stand strong.
Yeah.
Like, know who you was called to be and stand in that and be proud in that and be, you know, and stand, you know, just strong in those things. So that's kind of, you know, the direction. So I think going into this project, it was dope because we already knew the direction. Yeah. So I think the next step was like, all right, what's going to be the sound?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing was like, because we had been so involved in the things that were going on in our city in reference to civil rights and the rights of you know, Black Americans, and I was being engulfed in it because my wife is now like heavily involved in it. So
and we
even
had just been at the rally like a week before. Yeah, you spoke at it. I performed at it.
Yep. Like, and then we did 2 other. I think we did like 2 other small things. Yeah. And then while we were on vacation, my wife and her cousin Elijah, they were working on certain things, and I'm just sitting in the background and I'm taking all of this stuff in. I'm listening to the conversations. Yeah. I'm scrolling through Facebook, and because I'm a feelings atmosphere type of person, I'm starting to see like, where is the voice? Like, where's the musical voice? Yeah. Like a solid musical voice.
Like a soundtrack to the moment.
The soundtrack to the moment. Yeah, where is it? Yeah. And I don't ever want to be the person that brings a problem without a solution. So I was like, you know what? I think me and Zoe can do. I mean, I think we can do this. Yeah, I think we can sit down and polish out something that would be acceptable fight music for this time frame and in this moment. So when I started thinking about the sound of it, because I heard the sound of it before I actually even like got it. I was listening to, even though we didn't use no samples from her, I was listening to Mahalia Jackson, and I was just like, the quality of the emotion in the music mentally took me back to like what I think they would have felt like in Selma, you know, on the steps of the,
in those marches and in those at those rallies stuff.
and I was like, man, that would be dope if I could use, you know, if I can infuse gospel samples with this, like Public Enemy type of drums. And like for the whole time that I was on vacation, I was just
like tinkering with stuff.
Tinkering with things like, okay, that kind of sounds okay. This kind of sounds all right. And then I was on Facebook and I was looking at TrackLib and I was like, oh, snap. Like maybe they might have gospel samples and it's really, TrackLib, you can send us a check if you want to. We'll take it. We're not going to turn it down. But I went to TrackLib and I was like, I watched the video, the tutorial on how to do everything. I was like, oh, this is pretty easy. And like, it's like 1, 2, 3 to clear a sample. So I went and looked at all the gospel samples and I found like a bunch of like great ones. And I was like, oh, if I chop these up and then throw these drums over here. So I basically did like, I think 10 to 12 beats for Black Gold.
Yeah, because I think it was that, I want to say it might have been that Monday.
Yeah.
When y'all got back. And I remember he was like, yo, come through. So I came through to the house. And then we went on TrackLib and it was like, started just going through joints. Like, what you think about this joint? What you think about this joint? And I was like, oh yeah, that.
And I was just chopping, right? I was chopping.
Yeah. And then so I think it might have been like that, maybe like that Thursday. She's like, yo, give me a couple days.
Yeah. As always.
So
I always say that.
Yeah.
I'd be like give me like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
I think it's once we sit and you go, I like this.
Yeah,
I'll go, okay, now I know where we're going. And give me a couple days.
It's always like it's kind of like a ping pong, like back and forth of like, yo, the direction. Okay. Yo, the sound. Okay. Yeah. All right, now this is what it's going to sound like, you know, because then I think that Thursday night maybe, I remember you text me and you was like, yo, hey, check the Google Drive.
Yes.
And so
I think I had put everything in there.
He was like, I dropped everything in there. Like just go through the joints.
Yeah.
And then like just pick out the joints that you think.
Like,
So I remember going through, picking joints. And then I started getting stuff. So I was just like, yo, I'm gonna just make some voice memos. And then I think that Friday
you came back over.
I came over.
And you was like, I got some stuff.
Yeah, I got some stuff.
And like, I think we wrote 2 songs that
day we might have wrote 2 joints.
Yeah, we wrote 2
because
it was
like, yo, because I think you had a piece for one joint where you was like, yo, I think this would be a dope bridge.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I think this would be a dope like starter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we had like just joints.
Yeah.
And then we were like, yo, we wanted it to be something that that was a quick listen, but that would be a repeated listen.
Yeah.
So something that you could literally from point A to point B in your day be able to put on.
Yeah.
Get through it, but be able to be like, man, but I want to play that again.
Because it's essentially is fight music for those people out on the battlefield. And I know that analogy is I don't think it's over the top for exactly what we're fighting for.
Nah, yeah.
So it's like those people don't have a lot of time to be sitting listening to a 2-hour album.
Nah, for sure.
They need something to charge them up real quick.
Like, yo, I'm about to go out here
and let me get my picket sign. Let me get my mask. I'm ready.
Let me go stand for what I'm standing for.
Let me go stand for what I'm standing for. So for us, it was like, let's not make no project that's an hour, 30 minutes. Like people just don't have that type of time. Yeah. We need quick charges, quick jolts of energy, and so we decided to try to keep the project within 20 minutes. I think we got down to like 15.
I think it was in between like 15, 20, something like that.
So we really made the EP really, really short, but I feel like it's super impactful. And that was an important part for me.
Because I look at it as more of a soundtrack or a score.
Yeah.
Is how I look at it. Like I look at it to more of like a score for a moment.
Yeah.
You know, so we ended up titling it Black Gold.
Black Gold.
And just like a representation of what we feel we are as you know, as African Americans, especially in the United States of America, like from our culture, our music, our food, like our taste, all of those things are infused within
fashion,
American culture. Like everything, like it's infused when you even look at what some of the top fashion people are doing. They're doing something that it was, you know, an African American designer or somebody, you know, in hip hop or somebody like that is doing. So it's like our culture is infused into it. So we are Black Gold, and at some point we have to not allow others to like pillage our minds of the gold. And we have to take ownership of like, yo, I know what I am, and you're not just gonna take what I have and utilize it for you to move ahead while I'm still sitting there like, man,
you can't do that.
I wasn't even able to use my own gold.
No longer.
You know what I mean? So we wanted to give an album that was fight music, but that was also inspiration music.
Yeah.
That when a person listened to it, it gave them a boost of confidence. It let them know who they are if they didn't know who they were.
Yep.
And I feel that we accomplished that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like fully.
I
think we fully accomplished that.
Like I said, I've listened to it like 3 or 4. I don't normally do that, and I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times. And when I was trying to see if we accomplished what I thought we should have done with the project, after listening to it, I was like, I walked away feeling that way. So I
did too. Like being able to listen back and go, man, this was good. Like this was. It did exactly what we wanted it to do.
Yeah.
It was like making a meal.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the meal, everybody eating, you go like, yo, this joint's hitting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't need to add nothing. I didn't need to take nothing away.
Everything was solid. Yeah.
So this episode, what we wanted to do,
we
want to go through every track. We're going to give y'all a listen.
Yep.
And then we'll give kind of like a little bit of a breakdown of, what our mindsets were, what we were thinking on that particular song.
Yeah.
So to start it off, here is the intro to the album, Black Gold.
The Ceremony.
Enjoy.
Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Finger, it's hard to function as a hand while we tend to black lives. All lives should understand. All lives should understand. All lives should understand. With one less finger, it's hard to function as a hand while we tend to black lives. All lives should understand. All lives should understand.
So there you have it. That was the ceremony, the intro to the album Black Gold by the Arise Collective. And pretty much with the intro, we kind of wanted to just lay a foundation for what you were going to hear, you know what I mean, on the project. And a lot of what we've been seeing, like with Black Lives Matter kind of being the war cry to a certain extent, is we've seen all lives matter, blue lives matter, and those things. And kind of just laying the point of, with one less finger, it's hard to function as a hand. While we tend to black lives, all lives should understand. Just kind of in that line saying like, man, if my pinky gets cut, like I'm not like, oh, but what about the other fingers? It's like, no, I'm gonna tend to the finger that has the issue right now. Try to save that pinky, because it's gonna be harder to grab stuff if I don't got that. You know what I mean? So if I can tend to that one finger, then cool. Now I can worry about the other ones because now we all functioning. You know what I mean? And that was kind of like just the focus of that particular. How we wanted to introduce the project was it kind of lets you know, like, hey, do you want to be here for this or not?
Yeah. Because even like, because where that piece derived from was Stitch had put out a single kind of in conjunction with the rally called Cordless, a song that he had done on The Great Compromise. We remixed it.
And you produced it.
And when we produced it, at the end of the song, he said that. So it was kind of like when I was thinking about, okay, how can we intro the album? It was like we were kind of picking up after Cordless.
Honestly, like Cordless, technically like Cordless kind of was a springboard, so to speak.
Yes.
That kind of led into, Black Gold.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. With us being at the rally, putting that particular song out after the rally, performing that song at the rally. It kind of was something that kind of springboarded into Black Gold. And so it was like, when Sham was like, yo, I think we should lay that at the beginning, you know what I mean? And then that can be like the foundation for it. So, that was the intro. So after the
ceremony is We Rise.
Okay, so then we get into We Rise. So here you go.
We Rise.
Brave. Never miss the forest through the trees. B. Never let them change what you believe. They can never take what you achieve. Fist high, ain't no turning of the cheek. Take a stand, ain't no time for being meek. Without justice, you ain't never getting paid. Rise up, we rise up. We never stay down, we rise up. Rise up, we rise up. You can't keep us down, we rise up. Rise up, we rise up. We never stay down, we rise up. Rise up, we rise up. You can't keep us down, we rise up. Breathe. Never miss the forest through the trees. B. Never let them change what you believe. Be the evolution of the dream. Rise up, take position as a king. Black strong.
All right, that was We Rise, the second track on Black Gold, and I felt like it was like an eerie gospel sample the way I chopped it and slowed it down. So I envisioned us like like people rising from the ground. Like you tried to bury us, you tried to throw dirt on our culture, keep us down. Yeah. And every time you try to do that, we're going to find a way to rise up. And the music gave me that type of vibe, like cemetery type of vibe.
Yeah.
And
almost that march type of vibe.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. And I also would see like, I don't know if you ever seen this picture, but it's of the slaves that jumped out of the slave ship into the ocean.
Okay,
And I felt that too.
Got
like
you.
The storm in the ocean, the storm in the world, all of those things were kind of like a correlation to like the visual concept of creating the record. And I think in all of these records, they're more like chant records. They're not like real like extreme rap like records.
It's records to where it's like we really wanted the point to be made off break. Like when you leave a record, you like, no, I know exactly what that was.
Yeah,
I know exactly what I was to take from that. So like with this one, it was an encouragement.
Yeah,
like yo, rise up. Like yo, they can't keep you down. You know what I'm saying? I will rise. Like I will be fine. Like these are the things. It's saying like, nah, I will breathe. Like these are the things that we are gonna do. Yep. We are gonna push forward. We are gonna be here to be able to see it through. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the hopes at the end of all of this. Is that the music that we're putting out, the marches that people are doing, the rallies people are holding, the speeches that people are giving, the black businesses that people are buying for and supporting, that at the end of it, that when we're here to see it through, and we're here to see it through for those who weren't able to also. You know what I mean? Yeah, so a lot of that song was just kind of that encouragement to like keep fighting, keep getting up, because we're a strong, resilient people. Yeah. So that was a lot of what we were kind of thinking and feeling during that time of recording We Rise. The next track is called Before Long, and it's not like the Before Long. Before
like
long.
Like the a change is gonna come from Sam Cooke, and it's nothing wrong with those songs, because at that time I don't think we felt the type of power that we're feeling right now. Right. Yeah. And we wanted to give a Before Long, but in a way of like a warning, it's not hope. It's like, I'm telling you that before long, like we gonna be all in your grizzle.
Nah, facts, facts.
And I think that was like the biggest thing with that song. So without further ado, we're gonna go into Before Long.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. We have something hip we want to present to you.
Black Gold said it won't be long. Yeah, it won't be long. Black gold, speckles of blood along the white road. Burnt religion amongst the white robes. False imprisonment of the black soul. Black gold. You can never kill the black soul. Black hands till land, call it black growth. Now we all rise, unified for the black hope. Black gold. This is empowerment of the black soul. This is what happens when you suppress cold. Uncut gems dipped in black gold.
All right, that was Before Long. That's the third track on Black Gold. Again, like this project was like we wrote it in like probably like a week and a half. If you count days, like we had stuff like separated
in between and stuff like that.
But we wrote it in a couple days, and it was the crazy thing was it wasn't hard to write these records.
Nah, I honestly feel that being a part, being a part of the biggest rally that ever happened in Frederick. Not being a part of it, just like being there, but being like there and also being in it,
seeing it,
performing at it, setting stuff up for it,
even being in the background,
being in the background,
like while it's being set up,
like things of that nature, and seeing that, and then also just from our own experiences with brutality, with police brutality and injustice and things of that nature, like our own experiences within those. It made it a very easy process
it did.
For us to be able to sit and be like, oh man, I'm pulling from your experiences, you pulling from mine. Yo, this is how I felt. This is how you felt. Oh man, we could see this how people felt. You know what I mean? Because we had been inside of the situations and had talked to a lot of people and things like that. So it made the writing process, and like I said, knowing what the goal was of this, I think all of those factors came in to make it a very easy writing environment.
Yeah, because like even with Before Long, which is actually technically the title track, Black Gold is Before Long. It'll be called Before Long with parentheses around it with Black Gold. The song basically was us saying like there was a time frame where this is how you had to get along, and now we're not doing that anymore.
Yep.
Like
this is what happens.
You have to realize that we are here. We are strong. We are like I said, a resilient people, a proud people, and we're going to fight for the things that are owed to us and that are due to us, not just as Black people, but as American citizens, based upon your Constitution that you wrote. And
we like I totally agree, Black Lives Matter, but we much more than matter. Like we're necessary.
Yeah, we're super necessary.
1000%.
Yeah,
like it would be a very bland world.
Yeah,
without Black people.
Yeah.
Like, and it is just being 100. Yeah. Like, it would can't
put salt and pepper on everything.
You just can't. Like, you just can't.
Sometimes,
and that's Black people, minorities. Period. Like, it would just be a very bland world.
Yeah, it would be.
Like, that's the best way that I can say it.
I definitely
very
agree with
bland.
That. I definitely agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree with that.
If you take it out,
100%,
that's gonna be corny. Like, that's gonna be bad way. So. That gets us in. So we kind of like at the midway point.
Yeah, midway point.
And this next track, 7 Ways from Sunday, really is just a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a break. It's kind of like a breather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To kind of just like sit. We didn't want to really give you too many words on this, but it was just to be able to sit and just to listen to, the production and feel and kind of honestly think about what you've just heard.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm gonna say it once they listen to it.
Yeah.
Because I got something out of it after it was done, and I was like, and then after I added that extra piece, I was like, yo, I didn't even realize that I did that, and then I listened and was like, oh, this is crazy.
It's crazy that it worked out that way.
What we're gonna do is play the interlude, 7 Ways from Sunday, and then I'll share exactly what I was thinking when we come back from that.
Bet.
All right, that was 7 Ways from Sunday, the interlude for Black Gold. Again, like we said, we're at the halfway point at this point. And with 7 Ways from Sunday, originally it was just the instrumental, but I added because at the end of Before Long was Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech.
Yep.
And then inside of 7 Ways from Sunday, I decided to add a speech from Malcolm X. And the reason why I did that was because here in America, I feel like today more than ever, even during the 60s when these two were, prominent figures, we are still facing that by any means necessary, or I need to show love and be humble. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, you know what? Yes, we're gonna burn it down. We'll tear it. We'll loot. We'll tear up things. And then there's other people who are like, we'll pray. Yeah. We'll try to reach our hands across the line and join with our white brothers and sisters, our brown brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters,
our allies.
We'll create allies. And I feel like the conversations that I've seen and heard were a part of that. And I felt like Martin and Malcolm were spiritual leaders, right? And for us to call it 7 Ways from Sunday, is like there's so many ways to God, right? And these two men were very prominent, but the basis of what they were trying to convey were on religious guidelines, right? On what they believed. And I just feel like our people were in that moment, like right now.
Nah, definitely. I agree with that 100%. I think we all feel, and I think, being at different rallies and things like that, it's like you see people of different religions and things like that, but the one common thing that we have is bringing us all together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that surpasses all of those other guidelines. Like it cancels all of that out. It's just like, nah, are you good? Yep. I'm not really caring about who you worshiping and all of that. It's just, are you good?
Yep. You know as another black individual.
Yeah. So and I think that's the biggest thing. So, as we get into the next song, it's funny that the name of it came just off of us clowning around.
Sure did.
Just joking and it just ended up coming. So the next track that we're going to get into, and then we'll come back and talk to you about it, is Rice and Syrup.
In the syrup, we demand change, rejecting orders to cheer up. Your miseducation needs to clear up. Standing on the soapbox now, you can hear us. You can hear the sound of the spirit. Blacker than ever, we stand fearless. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us.
You can keep the rice in the syrup. We demand change, rejecting orders to cheer up. Your miseducation needs to clear up. Standing on the soapbox now, you can hear us. You can hear the sound of the spirit. Blacker than ever, we stand fearless. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. You can keep the rice in the syrup.
We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us.
You can keep the rice in the syrup.
We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us.
So that was Rice and Syrup. So I'm pretty sure most of you know, like when a lot of these things first started happening, it seemed as if there were these like olive branches or
quick
fixes of like, hey, man, let's change Aunt Jemima and let's change Uncle Ben, and in my head it was just like, nah, how about like arrest the murderers of Breonna Taylor,
or
how about
throw out these history books?
How about, you know what I'm saying? How about do some things that's actually gonna bring about things like we still don't. I don't know if y'all know. Let me know what would have happened to the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery
or George Floyd,
George Floyd.
What is going on?
So it's like, you could keep the rice in the syrup. Like, I don't really care. I don't even really eat that syrup. Yeah. I don't eat that rice. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like jasmine, you know what I mean? Yeah, for real.
Jasmine rice.
So it's like, so I don't even eat
this is not
like
I understand the gesture.
Basmati rice.
Yes, I understand the gesture.
But
and it seems nice, but changing pancakes ain't gonna do nothing.
It's not gonna do nothing. Like, that doesn't, because guess what? I can go bust down a bowl of rice and eat some pancakes, put some syrup on it, and still die today because things
with that in my
place.
stomach.
With that in my stomach, and the same things can happen. So that doesn't really change anything in my life personally.
Yeah.
Doesn't change nothing for me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So these like quick fixes or like, yo, let's just throw some masking tape on it.
Yeah, but then you're not gonna respect me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm still gonna fear for my life and all these things. It's like, it's pointless. Then if that's the case, you can keep Angie Mama and Uncle Ben on the
keep them on that joint. Like that joint don't do nothing to me. It ain't my aunt and it ain't my uncle. So so does it? You know. So I think those types of things when you've known something was racist for like it was made racist and stayed that way, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, let's just change that now because now it seems like the right moment. It's like, nah, you can keep that. Like, you can keep that gesture.
Please stop marching and protesting.
We'll give you some.
We changed the box.
We changed it.
Like
we changed her name. You know,
us.
it's gonna be Aunt Sarah's syrup now. You know,
no, we're cool.
Like,
we're all right.
We're good on it. Like I know I'm good on that.
I'm straight.
But like I said, I would prefer, you know, like the murders of Breonna Taylor, arrested, for there actually to be justice for Ahmaud Arbery, for there actually to be justice for George Floyd. Man, the list goes on.
We could sit here and on and on.
Yeah, and that would take up more than 10 episodes. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, off of Rice and Syrup, that was just like the goal of that song was just saying like, man, we would rather you do these things over here
than to give us
you just to pacify us. Yeah. You know, and that takes us to
Loose Me.
Loose Me, which I think the title says it all. It's just like, you know, for so many years we've been put in bondage, and not only like physical bondage, mental bondage,
financial
bondage. Like there's been so many different ways that the other side has tried to bind us and stop us from moving ahead and getting places. And this song is just that song of like, as much as it's to us, it's to them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, loose me. Like, you don't have no control over what I do.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. Loose me.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah. Loose me. Arise. Loose me. Where they see doubt, we see hope. Where they fall short, we stand tall. When it all breaks down, we still cope. Cause at the end of the day, we still strong. Where they see doubt, we see hope. Where they fall short, we stand tall. When it all breaks down, we still cope. Cause at the end of the day, we still strong. Loose me, don't noose me. We shine bright, no you see. That glow is black power. You had time, it's ours. Loose me, don't noose me. We shine bright.
All right, so that was Loose Me. That's the last track on the project.
Yes.
Again, I think it's so crazy because the project happened so fast. Mm-hmm. We came up with the idea. We kind of hunkered down on the concept, which was really easy because again, we're engulfed and we're living it.
Yeah.
And we really wrote it really fast. We recorded it.
Did the cover.
We did the cover. We mixed it.
And mastered it.
It just seemed like it was just like boom, here it is. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from the project is that, like, your voice is necessary, even if you don't think it is. Like, the fact that I didn't hear, and again, I'm not saying that there isn't anything. It's just that in my sphere, I didn't hear anything, and I felt like, man, we could make something that'll be meaningful. Like, I'm pretty sure when Sam Cooke recorded A Change Was Gonna Come, I don't think he thought like, yo, they're gonna be playing it in 2020, and that's going to cover, you know.
It's like, oh, this is how I feel right now, so I'm gonna do this.
Yes.
And man, like you said, what, 40 something years later, I think it's about that. Like 40, 50 years later, you know, it's like, oh man, this is still like ringing true.
This
right
is
now. What's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's
by,
like
you know, Marvin Gaye, like stuff like that.
And I felt like we had an opportunity. I felt like we were conscious enough to accept the opportunity to make something that we thought would be impactful and helpful. And I played it for a couple people, and they've come away with kind of the same thing.
That's what's up.
And again, we hope that you guys have listened to it. Please pick it up when you can.
In the beginning, it will be out on our Bandcamp.
Yes.
That is the first place that we'll be releasing it.
And that'll be arisemusic.com.
And then from there, you'll see it come up on just your other DSPs, your titles, Apple Music, those different services, music services. And then, we will be putting out just some video of us speaking on, the project and how it's, impacted people and things of that nature. So you can check for that on our YouTube, which is Arise, UHRISE.
Yep.
And then also make sure, like, for those who have been doing it, like, we definitely appreciate y'all, and y'all make it possible for us to, have the lights that we have and the cameras that we have and things of that nature. But to follow us on Patreon.
Yep.
And that is patreon.com/Arise, UHRISE. And just as we continue to build, the university, we appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Thank y'all for taking out time today to sit,
man,
through the listening with us.
Episode 25.
Episode 25. So once again, this is my man,
Sham Phoenix.
And I'm Stitch Early.
And this has been the Stitch and Sham Show.
Yes.
See you later, folks.
Peace out.